What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Blitzball Champ is back with a brand new video for all of my fans and viewers out there on YouTube. So, as promised, tonight I'm going to be giving a whole nother in-depth video specifically on Final Fantasy VII Remake. For those that saw my previous E3 video, I promised that I was going to do a more in-depth video, just sharing my thoughts and just overall perspective and just really what I received after seeing, all the information that was shown for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Um, Before I get into this video, I do want to go ahead and say that for those that have not played the original 1997 Final Fantasy VII game, there will be some spoilers in this video. So if y'all don't want to deal with the spoilers, I suggest that you not watch this video. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. There's a reason why I have to, to go that far. But just heads up, fair warning, there will be some spoilers as I go deep into this. So, yeah, you've been warned. And now I'm going to dive in. So, as I said, Final Fantasy VII Remake. The original came out in 1997. I believe January of 97. I want to say it was the 30th or 31st. But, yeah. And this is still my all-time favorite game. I actually had to I had to go to summer school in the 6th grade because of this game. Like, that's how much I loved this game. That's how much attention I put into this game. And it's kind of my older brother's fault because he rented it in the first place before I ever bought it. So, shame on you. Not really. But, and now, as shown at E3 this year, more information on the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which finally we got a release date, which will be March 3rd, 2020. And it's really interesting that the way this all came up in the first place was through a PS3 tech demo back in E3 of 2005. And yeah. And now 14 years later, and we finally get a release date. So yeah, a lot has really changed up to now, but it's just good to know that this is finally going to happen. So, one of the things that I was really excited about is just really all of what they've shown at E3 this year. I know it was a while back, it was about a month or so ago that Sony did a State of Play where they gave us a small little taste trailer of Final Fantasy VII, where they promised more information to come in June, which of course would be E3, which just recently passed. Not only did they show a long trailer with the release date, but they showed an even longer trailer and gameplay, which I know a lot of the Final Fantasy VII fans out there were definitely looking forward to finally seeing some gameplay, like little more in-depth gameplay. We've seen little small clips of it in previous, trailers, but I really appreciate it that they really just gave us a bigger taste of how the gameplay is going to be. So, going into the gameplay, it really kind of what was really interesting, it kind of had that action RPG look to it, where they showed Cloud, going through taking out some soldiers, where it was explained that you could slash with his Buster Sword by just using the square button, and you can do like regular attacks, and you have an ATB gauge, and that builds up per attack, and then when you get enough bars, you're able to execute other special commands like spells, Cloud's abilities, stuff like that. I really like the tactical element that they're putting into this, with just being able to freely move, to freely attack and defend, just like in real time. And also, they show gameplay with Barrett as well. And the fact that you're actually able to switch between characters just on the fly like that and, use the characters as normal. I think that's really, really cool, and it really adds to the tactical element because you look at Barrett, with his gun arm. I mean, he's going to be able to do long range attacks, whereas in Cloud is more so close range attacks. So they show that there's going to be some enemies that are much further away that Cloud can't reach, and that was like that even in the original game, where if enemies or if the battle was on a certain plane and the enemies were either flying or further away, only long distance attacks could hit them, and magic, of course. So I really like how they're keeping that even in the remake. I think that's really cool, and I just like how you're able to really use some strategy and to be able to be in full control of the character that you select and switch back and forth to. And not only that, the characters that you're not controlling, you can also, be able to rely on them as the computer to actually still, perform, to still attack and stuff like that. And you can also give them specific orders to, focus their actions on. So I think that's really, really cool. Um, what's really interesting that I'm just really I'm really looking forward to. There's like a lot of things I'm looking forward to. Like, for instance, number one, the fact that this first game, so we know that this will be all episodic. This is going to be broken up into, multiple episodes. And they provided the information that this first game that's coming out in March will be on 2 discs, and it will cover pretty much playthrough of Midgar, which is, the first city from the original Final Fantasy VII. And I'm just really curious as to really how in depth Midgar is going to be, because I mean they showed quite a bit, even in the extended trailer. And looking at the original game, you could pretty much get through Midgar in like what 5 to 7 hours, maybe even less if you're a speed run freak. But the fact that this is pretty much gonna be equivalent to a normal sized Final Fantasy game, like 60, 100 plus hours. So I think that's really, really interesting. That all of this is gonna be one game, all of Midgar into one game. So it really gets me wondering a lot of things. Like, for example, what type of detours are they gonna take in the story? Because we may all have an idea of the story being similar, but I'm sure there's gonna be some differences from the original, just with how they maybe with how they explain the story. I mean, there was a few clips like the one with when Cloud meets up with Aerith, and she had that black mist that goes around her. That wasn't in the original. So just little things like that. They showed a clip of the group Avalanche going through the tunnel on speed bikes. You know that wasn't in the original. You didn't use the speed bike until you were trying to escape from the Shinra building. So I thought that was really interesting. Just certain things like that you watch out for, and which I figured was gonna be expected. I understand that it's a remake. So there's gonna be some differences. From the original game, and I feel like this is definitely gonna be one of them. Uh, Another thing is, like, I'm also wondering about extras in the level of Midgar, because I mean, you look at the original game, you know, outside of going through, the different reactors, going through the different sector slums, going through the um, the Shinra building. I mean, it makes me wonder, like, oh, and of course the church and the slums. It really the wall market. Just this is just all coming to me, but it makes me wonder, like, how much more they're gonna really expand Midgar, because I mean, we got to factor in that all of this is in the first game. This is all just the first part. So it really makes me wonder, are there going to be other areas of Midgard that we'll be able to see and explore that we really didn't get to see in the original game? Because the way it looks is much, much bigger. And honestly, that really excites me. Just the depth that, they could potentially go into, just with Midgar by itself, just with this one level by itself. So I'm just really looking forward to that. Um, Another thing I'm very curious about is how are they going to do the materia system and also with the weapons. Now, of course, any that have played the original, when you switch weapons, I mean, it shows the weapon even in battle. So one of the things I noticed with Cloud's Buster Sword is that it actually showed the materia in the slot. So it really makes me wonder how detailed they're gonna show that with this remake, and I just really hope they just go all out with that. Even up to like the ultimate weapons. Each character's ultimate weapon. If that's something that they decide to bring back as well, I think that'll be really cool. But really, just how they do the materia system, like how different is it going to be? How similar to the original is it going to be? Are you going to be able to have the link slots, or is it just, are they going to simplify it, just make it so that if you have the materia and you have the slots, you just place them there? What kind of capabilities, or even what more they can expand, from the original lineup of materia. They could throw some new things in there. I think that'd be really cool. And it leaves a lot for speculation. But one of the things that I also wanted to talk about was just, one of the main things that they showed off was the battle with essentially the first boss, which is the Guard Scorpion, which they've renamed the Scorpion Sentinel, I believe. But just how much, if you can remember the original game, the Guard Scorpion was a fairly easy enemy. I mean, you just continuously attack it. It was weak against lightning. You keep using lightning. Of course, when its tail is up, watch out for the tail laser. Don't hit it when its tail is up. Just stuff like that. It was pretty simple once you got the idea of the strategy to defeat the Guard Scorpion. And just looking at the remake, it looks a lot more extended and a lot more detailed, and doesn't seem like the same type of strategy anymore. And I remember as they were showing gameplay in this that I believe this fight, if I remember correctly, is broken up into 3 stages. So I really I'm really kind of surprised, but at the same time it's a good surprise because it makes the battle longer, it makes it more in depth. It doesn't make it so simple, or at least that's what I take from it. So I really think they did a good job, just really showcasing, some of the basic things that you can do in combat through this boss fight. And I was really impressed, being able to use the environment, also switching between characters, just knowing trying to figure out the right things to do in battle, I think is what's really going to help make each battle, unique in its own way. And, we only saw, a few characters in battle. We saw Cloud, we saw Barrett, we saw a little bit of Aerith, and they also debuted Tifa, which I thought that was really cool. I felt like the crowd gave the biggest pop once they showed Tifa. So, so yeah, I'm just really curious as to how they're gonna do that. Um, Another thing I'm curious about is the voice cast. Now, for those that have played the original game didn't have voiceovers. It was all text. So I was kind of hoping that they would retain the voice cast from Advent Children, but from what I saw, I believe that they're doing a whole revamped voice cast. So I'm really kind of curious to see who they cast for the rest of the characters, because I mean I'm not really familiar with who they had in the trailer, but being that the original was all text based and this remake would now have voiceovers, it'll be interesting to see what kind of voiceovers we get for the other characters, like once they debut Sid Highwind or Vincent Valentine, or other characters like the Turks, Reno, Rude, Elena, Zhang, Rufus, Don Corneo, just different characters like that. Just it makes me wonder. Red 13, Boogie Hagen. I don't even know if I said that correctly, but you know who I'm talking about. Grandfather from Cosmo Canyon. But just all these different characters. Cat Sif, like all these different characters that for the longest time, I understand that we got, some idea of their voices in Advent Children, but, there was a lot of different characters, even in the original game, that, had a lot of impact. So it really makes me wonder, like, what the voice cast is going to be like. How much are they going to do with the voiceovers? Like, are they going to, you know, even make the NPCs with voiceovers, or it just has me curious. It really has me curious how they're going to do that. Um, Another thing I'm really excited about and really curious, mini games. Now, I know there weren't a lot of mini games. Honestly, there weren't really hardly any mini games in Midgar, to be honest with you. So it really makes me wonder, are they going to throw some mini games into the remake for Midgar? Because I mean the biggest bulk of the mini games from the original included the Fort Condor battles, the different games at the Gold Saucer, like the roller coaster, the speed, the speed roller coaster, the arcade, the battle arena, of course Chocobo racing, the submarine battle. Like it really makes me wonder how they're gonna do mini games in the Final Fantasy VII remake. I feel like, really thinking about it, I'm hoping that they maintain like some of the major ones, like the Chocobo racing, the breeding, the battle arena from Gold Saucer, um, just the arcade from the Gold Saucer, like. But I'm really interested to see if they'll throw in some new ones just for Midgar specifically, since there really weren't any mini games in the original for Midgar. If I remember correctly, you really didn't get your first real taste of much mini games until you got to the Gold Saucer. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with this first installment, and even when they start making the other ones. I mean, how in depth they're gonna be with these mini games and side quests on the remake and the later episodes. Um, Another thing makes me wonder: the weapons. Are they going to bring back the weapons? Ruby weapon, emerald weapon, diamond weapon. Um, are they going to bring them back? I really hope that they bring them back. If I remember correctly, those were exclusive to the American version of the original Final Fantasy VII. So I'm really hoping that they'll bring them back. Definitely looking forward to see how they look in the remake. Um, Another thing I'm really wondering about is just, with some of the characters, like if you remember in the original, you know, Vincent Valentine and Yuffie Kizaragi were considered secret characters. They were not characters that you necessarily needed to get through the game. They were secret characters you could add to your party. And, in the remake, it makes me wonder how similar or how close to the original like is that going to be. I'm very curious about that because you know before then there were secret characters, and I'm sure everybody is going to want to be able to have access to each character. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that. um let's see. Another thing I'm very curious about is they never did say how many episodes this whole entire remake is going to be. They just said that there are going to be episodes, but we still don't know a total number. And it has me very curious because I mean, you look at this first part, this first two disc part of the remake which takes place on in Midgar. I mean, on paper, Midgar is pretty huge. I mean, even though there wasn't really a ton of I mean, there was a handful of places you go through in the original, but in this remake, it really looks like they have gone just even more in depth with some of the different levels that you go through that you normally didn't see in the original. It really makes me wonder just how more in depth the rest of the worlds are going to be. Places like the Junin Harbor, places like Cosmo Canyon, the Gold Saucer, the Crater, the Temple of the Ancients, the Rocket Town, Calm, the Mithril Cave. Um, just like it really makes me wonder. Wu Tai. It really makes me wonder, like how much more in depth those levels are going to be. Considering Nibelheim, Mount Nibel, like that makes me so excited. That gets me excited. With the fact of how far they're taking this remake with Midgar, it really makes me wonder how more in depth they're going to make these other worlds. That excites me a lot. So, and it only gives me the idea that, there's probably going to be a bunch of episodes for this game. And it makes me kind of think about, for example, if anybody remembered Dot Hack. I remember they made one series of Dot Hack. It was like 4 or 5 games, and you play them back to back. I mean, you could play, you didn't have to start from the beginning, but if you wanted to keep up with the story and also be able to transfer your characters through each game, it'd be best to start from the beginning. But it tied into the whole story. It was just split into 4 or 5 games. So that's what it kind of makes me think of the old Dot Hack series, which I've only played one of the games. It was all right, but that's what it makes me think about. But it excites me because of the amount of depth they could really put into each level, just like they're doing with Midgar. So very, very excited about that. Um, Another thing that I'm really, really curious and excited about is when are we going to see some chocobos? We hadn't seen any chocobos yet, so it really makes me wonder, like how detailed the chocobos are going to be. Are we going to be able to do the chocobo breeding? again like we did in the old one? Are we going to be able to do the chocobo racing? Like, I really hope that's something that they maintain in this remake. Even if they have to alter it a little bit, I'm cool with that. But I really feel like that's something that needs to be maintained in this remake. I think it's very important, very key. Um, Also, something that I'm very curious about, and they even announced it in the different games or the different versions you could purchase, because they had a standard version, a deluxe, and then a first class version. But they had summon spells for DLC. So yeah, summon spells or summon materia. It makes me wonder how they're gonna do that. Um, if I remember, for example, Final Fantasy 12, you could summon summon a summon monster, and they would be on the battlefield, helping you to fight for a certain amount of time. So, or even like how they did summons with Final Fantasy 13 or even Final Fantasy 10. You know, I'm very curious how they're gonna do summons in this remake. Because is it gonna be similar to how you use ATB to cast a summon? Are they gonna do the same thing with the different kinds of materia that they had, like the support, the summons, the commands? Like, is that something that they're gonna maintain? Which I feel like it'd be great if they really expanded on that, but like maybe expand on the number of materia, but still keep it simplified on how to use it. Because I mean, it may have taken a little bit of time to get used to the materia system in the original, but once you've gotten an idea, and based on where you put your materia in the weapon and armor slots, it was pretty much you're pretty much good to go from there. So um, so yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Um, Now, if we want to talk about concerns, I think for me specifically, one of my main concerns is how linear or non-linear is this game going to be? That was one of the things of why, a lot of fans, from what I've heard, didn't like Final Fantasy 13 because of that. There really wasn't a lot of freedom to do, to grind or to do, random battles. You know what I mean? So I really wonder, like, how it's going to be in this Final Fantasy VII Remake, because I do still appreciate being able to grind, being able to do random battles wherever you are. So it really makes me wonder how linear or non-linear is this game going to be. That is a concern for me. It's not an end all be all for me, because I'm going to get this game regardless anyway. Like, just heads up. But I really wonder, how linear or non-linear is it going to be. So that's a concern for me. Um, Another concern for me is, are they going to stick with, when you're going through the game, like, the enemies, are you able to see the enemies, or is it later going to be like just random battles that will just happen as you're traveling along? Um, I like being able to see the enemies. Like I said, it would be cool if in that aspect that they did it sort of similar to 13, just being able to see your enemies, but also, being able to, run around and grind and, see, the random enemies respawn. I think that would be really cool, because I think in any good RPG you should be able to grind. So I really hope, that's something that you'll be able to do easily, in in a manner of speaking, being able to have that decision. But I mean, overall, I'm just really, really excited for this game. You know, I feel like it's been in the making for a long time. I know that the fans have had to be very, 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 very patient for so many years. But I'm really hoping as time passes, we'll get even more information on even some of the later episodes because, like I said, I'm very curious as to how they're going to split this up. Because I mean, we know the first game is going to be in Midgar. Like when they do the next episode, like how much is that going to cover? And then the one after that, how much is that going to cover? And then so on and so on. I really wonder how they're going to split each of these off. You know, because the original game was 3 discs. The first game pretty much went from the beginning up to Aerith's death, and then the second game went from that point to pretty much the time before you're getting ready to go into the crater to take on Sephiroth for the final time. So it really makes me wonder how they're going to split up each of the episodes. And but like I said, if each one is going to be equivalent to like a regular sized Final Fantasy game of 60 to 100 hours or more, that gets me excited that that can potentially, be full of content. Really, really good content. And but I think overall, just with the gameplay, just with the taste of gameplay that they've showed, I'm really hoping that they'll elaborate more as time passes. Just like maybe go into some more of the abilities, or even showcase a materia system. They could showcase some gameplay on that, and who knows? There's always Tokyo Game Show, so maybe we'll see some more gameplay or another extended trailer um, at the Tokyo Game Show. But I really, really feel like because of the Final Fantasy VII Remake that Square Enix won E3. I believe this was their year. I believe that they really impressed a lot of their fans, or, pretty much almost all of their fans. I felt like they really, really delivered some good content at their press conference. I'm very, very pleased. I'm really, really excited for this game. The original is my all-time favorite game. I've played through that game so much. And, come March 3rd, I'm just really, really ready to dive deep into this game and really see what this remake has to offer compared to the original. So I'm excited. And if y'all are just as excited as I am, excellent. Share that with me. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all thought. Let me know what y'all thought of the trailer, the gameplay video, just, your expectations. What did you like? What did you dislike? What are you excited for? What are you worried for, with this remake? Because, I mean, I just feel like you gotta expect the unexpected. Because, even with what they've shown, our expectations are gonna grow even more. Because there's still so much more to be covered with this game. And all we're getting in March is just Midgar. Like, that's it for now. So that leaves me a lot of curiosity, a lot of anticipating some great things, with this game, no matter how many episodes it might turn out to be. But yeah, congratulations to Square Enix on an excellent press conference. Thank y'all so much for showing off this game and providing more information. But like I said, like, subscribe, comment on this video. Let me know y'all's thoughts. What did you like about the information on Final Fantasy VII Remake? What do you like about it? What do you dislike about it? What are you looking forward to? What are you worried about? What would you want to see? What do you not want to see? Like, share. Please, by all means, share. But thank y'all so much for watching this video. And this is Blitzball Champ signing off. Everybody have a blessed evening, and I will see y'all next time.